Hello again and welcome back to SQL 101. My name is Matt Tanner, and in this series, we're breaking down the fundamental concepts that you're going to need in order to become a SQL expert. We'll look at things step by step to make it easy for you to get the hang of working with databases. Now, in the last video, we covered the basics of select, which allowed us to retrieve data from tables. Now, today we're going to keep on building on that and look further at one of the last concepts that we covered in that video, which is the where clause. This is a key tool for narrowing down the scope of the data that's returned back from your query. And this is going to be really helpful if you're looking at a rather large data set, or if you only need to focus on specific data. By the end of this video, you're going to have a very good understanding of how to use a where clause within your queries. This is going to allow you to make your queries much more efficient and much more powerful. With that out of the way, let's get started.
Now, once again, back in SingleStore, using the database that we created in part 1 of this series, we'll come into Data Studio. I'll then open a new SQL editor. And starting from where we left off in the last lesson, let's just look at the anatomy of the select statement with a where condition or where clause. As I mentioned, the where clause is a way to add conditions to your queries. So instead of retrieving all the data from a table, you can use the where to filter the result based on a specific criteria. Now, in this example, we have our basic select statement. So select column 1 to end column from table name. Then we have our where condition. So this is the basic syntax of a where clause. And this is going to allow you to specify a condition, and only the rows that meet that condition are going to be returned. Now, let's walk through some examples using the employees table that we created in the last video. For example, you'll probably remember this from the last demonstration, that we can do something like select first name, last name, salary from employees where salary is greater than 70,000. And we can see our result here, which is first name, last name, and salary, which are the columns that we've selected from the employees table, where salary is greater than 70,000. So these are all the folks who have a salary greater than 70,000. Now, we don't have to limit things just to necessarily a numeric column. We also might want to only pull employees from a specific department. So next, let's filter our results based on department. For this, we'll actually use the department ID column to see only employees who work in the engineering department. That query is going to look like this. Similar to our last query, we have, select first name, last name, department ID from employees, and we've added a new where clause, which is where department_ID is equal to 3. If I run this query, I can now see that I'm returning back David, John, and Michael, all of which belong to department 3, which is engineering. Now remember, we can always cross-reference the department ID with our departments table to see the full department name. For example, we can do select star from departments and then run this to see that 3 is engineering. Later on, we'll talk about joins where we can actually bring this department name into our query as well, but we won't focus on that yet. Now, let's say you want to filter your data by more than one condition. Well, you can actually do this by combining conditions with the and keyword. Let's take a look at what this would look like. So here we can see select first name, last name, salary, department ID from employees. And here is our dual condition where clause, where department ID is equal to 3 and salary is greater than $80,000. In this case, both of these conditions must be true. So the employee needs to be part of engineering and have a salary greater than 80,000 in order for the employee to appear in the results. Only employees that meet both conditions are actually going to show up in the results. Now let's give this a run. And here we can see Michael and David have been returned. Their salaries are both above the $80,000 threshold, and they belong to department 3. So this is really useful when you're working with larger data sets and you want to refine your results via multiple conditions. Another powerful use of the where clause is to filter by date. So let's say you wanted to find all employees who were hired after January 1st, 2022. The corresponding query would look like this. Our familiar select statement with a where clause where the hire date is greater than 2022-01-01. So in SQL, you need to remember that dates are written in this format. which is year dash month dash date. So in our example here, 2022, the month is January and the day is the 1st. If we wanted to do December 31st, we would do 12/31. Now, if you do dates in any other format than this, it's likely not going to work for you. So make sure that you're adhering to the date format that your database is enforcing. In the case of SingleStore here, this is the format that we'd be looking at. Now let's run this query, and we can see here that Emily Davis is the only one hired after the 31st of December in 2022. However, in our original query, we had 01/01. Let's run this amended query. And here we can now see that we have Sophia Taylor, John Doe, and Emily Davis meeting this condition of being hired after 2022, January 1st. Now, our last example is going to be using the in operator, which is a great way to filter by multiple values in a single condition. So it's slightly different than the and operator that we used earlier. And let me show you exactly what this looks like. So in this query, we're actually looking for all employees from the engineering and marketing departments. And we're using the in operator here to do that. So we have where department ID in 3 or 4. So this is going to return all employees in either the engineering or marketing department. And this is a little bit cleaner than writing queries that have multiple conditions on the same column. So if we run this, we can see here now that just like when we ran the query to bring back only the engineering staff, now we can see that Sophia Taylor is also coming back because she belongs within this clause, which is Department 4, Marketing. And this covers the practical basics of what you can do with a where clause in your SQL statements. That caps off our lesson on expanding our knowledge for using the where clause in our SQL statements. We've covered how to use the where clause in your SQL statement to create a filter to only get the data that you need, which is going to allow us to make queries much more specific. Whether you're filtering by numbers, dates, strings, the where clause is going to give you a lot more control over the data that you're going to receive back from your query. Now, in the next video in this series, we're actually going to start to look at order by. Essentially, it's going to allow you to organize data the way that you want to organize it. Now, if you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on later parts in our SQL 101 series. Again, thank you for watching and happy querying.